Om Tat Sat. My humble prostrations to the all-pervading Brahman or God, to my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananda Ji Maharaj, to all the sages and saints of this world, and to each of you divine soul watching today's satsang. So today we will be studying Sutra number 38 from the Vibhuti Pad of the Raja Yoga Sutras of Patanjali Maharaj. Commentaries by my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananda Ji, and narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. So let's get started on Sutra number 38 of the Vibhuti Pad. It's a little bit longer sutra, so let's repeat, and we do every sutra twice just so we can enjoy the Sanskrit word, the phonetics, and we can benefit from there as we move along. The sutra is Bandha Karana Shaithalyat Prachara Samvedanat Cha Chittasya Parasharira Praveshaha. Let's repeat. Bandha Karana Shaithalyat Prachara Samvedanat Cha Chittasya Para Sharira Praveshaha. This means by relaxing the cause of bondage and by knowing the process of movement, one's chitta or astral body is enabled to enter into another's body. So this is a very deep sutra, and for most people in today's material world are not able to do this level of siddhis and this level of structure. But yes, there are still some siddha yogis who are able to do this, but then they don't advertise these powers, as we had talked in the last sutra. But these powers definitely do exist. For the vast majority of people, they don't, because they are so materialistic and they are so involved in the worldly affair itself that they have not reached that stage. So once whoever can reach that stage will get these powers. But again, these powers are not where we need to get stuck in. That's the main point. These are tools to use for our evolution to get enlightened. So there are 3 points involved in developing the psychic power of entering one's body, which are being explained as follows, and we'll cover that. Like I said, Vibhuti means glories of meditation and learning the skill. Once you learn the skill, it has numerous siddhis, benefits, powers, and how you use it depends on what your growth is, which level you're in, and so on. But again, these siddhis are not the end all. These are just milestones along the way to show your progress on the end journey of spirituality. That's the real goal. So relaxing the cause of bondage. So basically we have 3 knots inside our body. It's called karma granthi, Kama Granthi and Jnana Granthi. 3 knots we come with 3 chains, fetters, so if you will. And then if we are able to break and open these knots or fetters through our patience, effort, and walking on this path, these fetters start to get loosened and eventually we become free. And that is the cause of bondage. The impressions of karmas constitute the bondage for the chitta. So this is called the Karma Granthi. So if we are able to move the karma granthi, granthi means a knot. So if we are able to move that knot of the chitta and remain as if it's tied to the body in order to reap the fruits of the karma. So generally these knots are there so we can do bhoga, experience the results of our karma and so on. But a yogi who is able to advance very rapidly on this path, he has opened up this karma granthi. So he's no longer restricted by this karma granthi. Therefore, he is able to reduce their karmic impressions also. See, he is not impacted by the results of this granthi, and therefore that allows his chitta to be free, and therefore he can transcend the body and move according to his will. Just like your physical body, you can move at your will and go wherever you want. A yogi is able to go a layer deeper into the subtle body and be able to do the same thing with it. which is basically a reflection of the outer body, but it is made up of invisible components of the chitta that we just talked about. Knowing the process of movement, once he learns that, the yogi then acquires the mystic knowledge of allowing the chitta, the conscious, unconscious, subconscious, to move out of the body and travel in the astral plane and come back into the body. So there is no physical travel required anymore. This is what sages and saints do for their disciples if they are struggling and so on. These are highly advanced Siddha Purusha, enlightened souls, who then can go through the subtle influence and guide these souls who genuinely need help. And then, but they have the siddhi, so they can use this process for anything, just like you can use your body to do anything you want, go anywhere, do anything, travel internationally and so on. The siddhas can do the same thing, except they're doing it to the subtle body. Again, these are mystic secrets and very deep and profound, so this is obvious that only a few of those souls can reach that spot, but at least it shows us the potential of this path that Patanjali Maharaj has shown us. So basically he gains an insight into the subtle vital channels. These vital channels are called the nadis, and you cannot dissect and see the nadis. You can only see veins, capillaries, etc., but not the nadis or the chakras for that matter. Those are all subtle energies. So this goes through the Sushumna, through the Kundalini, and ascends the chakras, the planes of existence that are associated with the chakras. So that's what Sage Patanjali is guiding us, that he is able to go through the Sushumna Nadi. That is the central channel that kind of becomes the runway of a plane, if you will, on the physical side, right? We need like when we take off, we are now in the plane and then we get down. So he does the same thing. They go through the Sushumna Nadi and then they are able to go into any other body at will, and then do the same thing, come out of there through the runway of the Sushumna Nadi and come back into their own existing body. So this is how they enter into another's body. And as a yogi performs samyama on the above 2 points, he becomes adept in entering into others' bodies with the help of his chitta. And so there are some examples that we will share so you can understand that it's a very deep science. In the Mahabharata, there is an example of a saint called Sulabha. She was a lady saint endowed with the psychic power, who entered into the body of King Janaka while he was seated on the throne, and she held philosophical discussions with him. And then there are other illustrations of other yogis who have entered into the bodies in order to prolong their lives, thereby completing the cycle for their purpose for whatever they had come. So if their physical body prarabdha karma was ending, they may find another body that is younger, that needs their ability. They go in, and then through that body they are able to continue their karma and the journey, so they can get enlightened quicker. So because this reduces the time involved. Otherwise a yogi would have to, if he hadn't reached that end stage, he would have to take another birth. So this also is there, but generally they have to find a person who has died, because then they can go in there and then revive through that process. And Sage Shankara, Adi Shankaracharya ji, our lineage guru, an avatara of Lord Shankara, had also done this during one of the debates, but that's for another day. We will discuss that. But I wanted to just share with you that these siddhis or powers are certainly real, and then one is able to get all these things. But again, these are for divine masters and not for the masses. So very few people actually get to touch and experience this process. But those who do, then they don't use these powers for any selfish purpose. It's always for humanity, kindness, goodness, making this world a better place. And that's what the essence of this sutra is. So we will cover sutra number 39 tomorrow. Om Tat Sat.